Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Process in Automation podcast with the Automation Guys. Today, we will look at 5 of the most valuable chatbot use cases, and we will look very specifically in a couple of industries. So, with me here again is Arno as usual. And Arno, do you like to go a little bit into the term of chatbots? What is a chatbot in general for our listeners as an explanation?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sasha. So the term chatbot really describes any intelligent software which is got an agent base, like a virtual agent that can communicate with users in a human-like fashion. So they handle queries in English or any other language for that matter, and they also respond intelligently. There's a lot of chatbot technologies out there, like Druid, and obviously Microsoft Virtual Assistant, and they've earned a lot of widespread attention, for their ability to be very realistic in conversations with human users. So chatbots can be more than just like a fun thing, like a clever bot. They can really radically improve your organization's productivity and efficiency. According to IBM, chatbots can answer up to 80% of routine queries by themselves without needing the help, from a human agent. So that's one of the reasons why there's a firm called Research and Markets. They looked at the global market for chatbots, and it's more than tripled, from 1.9 billion in I think it was 2019 to just short of 7 billion in 2024 as their forecast.
Wow.
So it's a major shift, and there's lots of investment going into it. Of course, these chatbots are easily configured, so it's easy to get started, because it's all low code based configuration.
Yeah, I think because of that benefit, I think you just mentioned there 80% of routine queries could be covered by chatbots in organizations. So this is why we want to go over the benefits of using chatbots. As I mentioned earlier, so we have 5 of the big sectors identified, and then let's get started with the actual benefits of chatbots. So so although the sort of the precise impact of chatbots might vary depending on the industry. So you probably can imagine. So for a healthcare company or financial services company, these benefits are different. So, but pretty much every organization can really benefit from bringing in chatbots into the end-to-end processes. So, and some of these advantages, so these are the very attractive ones, is for businesses are lowering the costs. I think that's a key one.
Yeah.
So especially now with so we need to get more done with less. I think that's sort of what we have seen over the last 12 months. So by offloading these routine queries into or to chatbots, instead of they are done by our human employees, by the agents, so business can really lower their customer services expenses. So really, as much as 30% of the customer services tasks individually, and that can, if that's automated, they can. I think when we look at the US, I think one research came up with this, can bring up a saving of 23 billion US dollars. So just alone on in this country, and I think the benefits are clear. So then better customer service. I think this is probably where businesses should look first, because if you serve your customers better, then they will be loyal, and they will stick with the business. So it's very often sort of one of the most important reasons why you should look at it. Surely the lowering cost benefit is good, but the customer service ultimately is the reason why you should start with chatbots. So they can take over the simple queries immediately, without really passing that on to a human, and it's available 24/7 if you're thinking about insurance claims and all that stuff. So you can immediately get stuff started. You don't have to wait until customer service is back on the phone, and and you can as well, have good conversations there to improve that overall experience. It's not just a glorified form or so. You have really proper, meaningful conversations there, which lead to an outcome. So that's this one to really focus on and where we see the big benefits. And when we then look into these 5 use cases for these different industries, Arno, the first one we have picked is local government.
Yeah, so for local government is a very important use case, and that's why we highlight this. And there's a significant benefit that the local government entities will gain when they adopt chatbots into their workflow processes. So obviously with governments, they've got hundreds of services that they offer to citizens, and they need a very sustainable and a programmatic way that's repeatable to meet these requirements for their constituencies. So I think the good news here is that lots of local governments that we see already plan to get onboarded with chatbots and joining this chatbot revolution. In fact, I think there was another survey in 2020 where they looked at 33 councils within the UK, and 90% of those councils said they expect to have a chatbot strategy within the next 12 to 18 months, which is great. And when you look into the details, these councils estimate that they'll save around £180,000 or more, over the next 12 months with this chatbot strategy. So very important, and this kind of touches on your point of lower costs. If we look at the softer benefits, again, by looking at customer service, there's another case study that North Tyneside did. And this local council used chatbots and RPA, which is robotic process automation, to improve the residents' access, to revenues and benefit services. And after they implemented this program, the council saw a significant time reduction when they processed these new benefit claims, and this reduced from 36 days to just north of 20 days. And in the meantime, the customer satisfaction rate jumped up to around 85%. So it is a cost reduction in a way, but it's also a massive increase in satisfaction and end user satisfaction. And I think that's a very key benefit of this, right?
Yeah, and I think we discussed this recently again with the Loughborough University, and they really come up with this chatbot concept as well for local government, so young people, when they want to interact with local governments, so they really struggle with all this very rigid, formal kind of structure. These local government websites, some of you probably have visited as well yourself, and they are not very intuitive in general. So they're not, all these websites are not really usable. So if you then plug in a chatbot there, young people and everyone, not just young people, but they obviously they would like those kind of things and jump on that kind of stuff very early. They can start engaging with the local council, with the local government, and get the information they need. Currently, they're struggling to get this information, and that is an issue. And then unemployment rises and all that stuff because they haven't been able to interact with the local government and asking for help in a meaningful way. So chatbots can actually do that. It's fantastic, and I'm very happy that they all sort of acknowledge the requirement for it. Or 90% is huge.
And I think, when we talk about local government, I think it's not necessarily just restricted to actual government entities themselves. I think, you look at universities, student well-being, the way students communicate with each other or want to communicate with the university. That's another good example of this as well. So I think that once governments sees the potential here, not just cost savings but also customer satisfaction, then I think this will see widespread adoption. Not just in sort of the next year or so, but I think if you look into the future, 2023, 24. I'll be surprised that if councils don't have this type of service to cater for that specific demographic of citizens that is used to using chatbot style or chat style peer-to-peer communication to do their business, right?
Absolutely.
So next one we can obviously is a nice little segue into the local government is healthcare. And obviously with the pandemic out there, the doctors and nurses are really kind of going behind the call of duty, and are quite overworked, and it is taking a toll on the quality of patient care. So again, if we bring chatbots into this equation, it can really help to shoulder this workload. Now again, chatbots can't replace the expertise of a doctor, for example, but they can actually help with many common tasks that you don't necessarily want to give for a doctor to do. So for example, providing more detailed information about a medical topic when a person is browsing a website, it's a sort of kind of FAQ style, or offer common diagnosis based on the description of a patient's symptoms, for example, or helping a user improve their eating habits by offering recommendations about diet, nutrition, calorie intake, exercise, and also sending reminders to patients to take their medication or to attend upcoming appointments. So this is all the art of the possible, which is not necessarily something that a human has to do. Chatbots are obviously very efficient in doing so, and it is that perfect use case for it. And again, if I can bring another study, into this, I don't know who this study was conducted by, but it was done last year, and they found that the user's view of these healthcare chatbots is as positive or even more positive than dealing with human agents, providing they can actually provide that same quality of care. And it also suggested that the total sort of global cost savings from using chatbots in their healthcare industry will reach about $3.6 billion in 2022, and that's a 10,000-fold increase from the figures in 2017 which was about $2.8 million. So in the space of 5 years, it is just absolutely exploded with inside healthcare, and rightly so. With those 4 examples I've used, appointment notifications or appointment booking, kind of common health tips, FAQs, providing more detailed information, common diagnosis. Those are all things that you can train a chatbot to do on your behalf 24/7.
Yeah, and chatbot for appointments is actually it's actually a big one for NHS when you look at it. So there are lots of appointments scheduled, and it goes back and forth. Usually, once you have an appointment, and very often there's no show and that kind of stuff because of the information is missing, or the mechanism to actually interact with them early enough to say, oh, I can't make it, that kind of stuff. And that obviously leaves too much, basic capacity is gone, isn't it? So because tomorrow is another day with another set of capacity, and patients are waiting. So it would be really good to make it much easier. So the appointment setting is to make them much more streamlined.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the next one, really big one, is financial services. One of the sort of mission critical industries globally. So chatbots can help there to reduce the the human involvement and the strain on the human agents. So very typical, probably you're all seeing these chatbots appearing on banking websites. It provides customer support with really simple tasks. Some of that stuff you can do already very comfortably through your app, but now you can do that stuff via the chatbot as well. You can say, okay, I lost my credit card, I need my account balance, and even with banks you can do lots of insurance products as well. So you can use that customer service bot to purchase an insurance policy, or to get your travel insurance in place for your summer holiday, that kind of stuff. Chatbots will also help with your basic financial advice. They will sort of direct you in the right places on their website, to maybe read up on further information, or asking you questions about investments, and advising very basic, because the proper advice has to come from a human, but they can do a lot of the legwork already. Chatbots, we notice there are fraudulent transactions, that kind of stuff. We get text messages and then we reply back. So chatbots can be used there as well, very nicely, to send questions back to the customer and to confirm a suspicious transaction, that kind of stuff. And also reminders, general notifications, which makes your life then easier as a customer of this financial services organization. So with you've seen, so with studies, we like studies. These studies have shown $7.3 billion can be saved globally if that can be replaced or supported by chatbots, these kind of areas. So if you bring it down into man hours, I think it's a bit more tangible. 862 million man hours can be passed on sort of to chatbots to support the organization. So that's a massive increase, a growth of 3,400% from 2019. So we see, I think
big numbers, very big numbers,
really, really big numbers, very appealing.
And I think that's why it's good to bring these studies into today's chat, really, because the numbers are just mind blowing, and I think the adoption, it's not tenfold or hundredfold, it's thousands fold, over a sort of a half a decade, and I think it will just increase over the next couple of years. But it's, if you look at financial services, it's the way I would like to transact with my financial service providers. I don't want to speak on the phone to somebody because I'm quite busy. I know these chatbots are sophisticated, so they can deal with my queries very quickly. I don't want to fill out a form and wait for an email to come back, because it's all disjointed, disconnected, because I have to wait to come back to the response. All of this it's all instant, and I think that's where the benefits comes into play, right? Because it's instant, and providing your chatbot can resolve your query, you also get an outcome in that session. And I think, when looking at these chatbots, that's what you want to achieve, because that is what brings that customer satisfaction into the picture. It's one thread. It's like chatting to a friend. you hash it out whether or not you're booking now that the social calendars are filling up again, you're firming up a sort of a meetup date.
Mhm.
How frustrating it is if somebody tells, well, I have to consult my diary and I'll get back to you in 2 days. No, you kind of just want to just drive it now and get it booked, right? I think that's just how we are. And this is a great vehicle for us to exploit, in now and also in the future to get to that place. And talking about the social calendar filling out, the fourth one on our list is hospitality. Of course, the hospitality industry revolves around providing excellent customer service, because if you have excellent customer service, there's many advantages for hotels and restaurants to take it, to exploit that really. And again, there's loads of potential use cases for chatbots in hospitality, and some of these include answering basic queries about opening hours, amenities, menus, helping address simple guest queries and issues, making reservations or appointments, offering personalized recommendations and obviously promotions based on a guest's behavior and also their preferences. Obviously streamlining the checking and checking out process by sending reminders and presenting guests with the final bill. And also, after your trip, requesting a feedback. How was your trip? So again, all of these automations are what I would say the right kind of use cases for that industry. And again, I'm going to bring another study in here, and this was done by HospitalityNet, and they said that by improving, the efficiency of customer services, hotels have seen up to a 30% increase in direct bookings from the usage of chatbots, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's very important right now, isn't it? Where the hospitality industry is quite restricted, so they need all the help they can get to actually to do more business, or make sure they get the right business going forward. Yeah, indeed. So our fifth sector industry is manufacturing and logistics. So while their most obvious uses for improving customer service, like we had with all the other use cases, chatbots can also be implemented internally. I think for these companies, for the benefit of managers and employees. So we discussed this in another podcast episode about internal use cases in depth, but one important chatbot use case is the manufacturing industry, where chatbots can be used in different ways. One could be letting managers easily check the status of different parts and supplies, so very, very important in manufacturing, and order new ones if necessary. Without going through complicated web applications and all that stuff. This is what they usually have, some very old version of an ERP or Excel spreadsheets they have to fill out and upload somewhere. So this could make it much easier. Getting information about the current inventory and pending deliveries. So it's very, very good for managers to get that overview. Checking environmental conditions on the manufacturing line to ensure that the equipment is it's operating normally and at maximum efficiency. And I think really offering real-time updates on the manufacturing process, so the sales departments and sales professionals and customers can better predict when new products will become available. I think these are very, very specific use cases not everyone is familiar with, but in manufacturing and logistics internally, that's very important. And obviously in manufacturing and logistics, we have the typical customer experience, customer services elements, like where is my parcel? My parcel didn't arrive. So all that kind of stuff, what you have to type in very often these days into forms when you contact DHL or others, and it's much easier for customers to use chatbots to get to that information.
Yeah, and I think in manufacturing as well, just to have that early warning system where a chatbot can also proactively ping you if there is a problem, or you can just do before your shift start, do a quick health check, and it just kind of sends you a bit of a summary of what's going on. So these are small little use cases, but it's just having that extra assistant ever present, that you just have that extra insight into your operations, whether or not it is manufacturing or logistics, because you might wait for a very critical shipment of parts in a manufacturing process that you require. And you don't necessarily want to log on to a website to get to that, even though it is convenient and there's a lot of mobile interfaces. You just want to ask this virtual assistant, where is this particular shipment, and it gets to the point and it tells you where it is and what the estimated delivery time is. Bang, outcome achieved, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's I think that's it with the 5 industry use cases we collected. As always, this is just a really short snapshot of what is possible. And we will do a couple of more episodes on chatbots, because it's such a hot topic and we get asked a lot of questions. So thank you for submitting these questions in general. So much appreciate. So in summary of this session, from local governments and healthcare to financial services, hospitality, and manufacturing, we just mentioned that chatbots are really transforming how we do things these days. So looking to bring the benefits of chatbots into your organization. That's the question you can ask us, Arno and myself, online, and all the things we can help you with. And we're looking forward to next time. And let's automate it. Unfortunately, that's it again with this episode of the Process and Automation podcast. If you liked this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any upcoming episode. We hope you will tune in next time, and until then, let's automate it.